So, this is your host, Steve, from the back, coming at you again. Raw and unscripted is always... Really, computer? Really, we're gonna do this right now? Oh, boy. So, I apologize, you guys. I know the audio is not what it should be. I know the quality's not what it should be, ever. Audio, visual... I think I went a little too... I don't know. Probably bruised something. But, like I was saying, you know, you guys, I apologize that the quality is not up to par with, like, what you're used to. But look here, man. This is my channel, and I have to make do with what it is for now. And the more, you support this channel, the better things can be on this channel as far as quality. So, I talked about this before, and I'm going to talk about it again. So, this channel is a fun channel. It's like just, recreation, giving you ideas, trying to tell people ways that they can, like, improve things, or ways that psychologically they can give themselves some forms of closure. Maybe tell you a perspective that would help you to help yourself, and that goes both ways, like help me to help myself. But I'm just telling you things that, because this channel is not just all about, like, nonsense. Like, it's not just all about, oh, this is Mugen gameplay and whatever gameplay and video games and nonsense and recreational stuff. So this is a different type of rant. There's all types of rants on the channel. This is a certain type. So, if some of you guys have watched this channel, if you have, maybe you know that I am of the left-hand path, that I am technically a Satanist, and so on and so forth. But what I wanted to talk about some things, because I feel like, first off, demonic kings and demons in general get a bad name. So that's already, like, a given. Everyone knows that. Everybody knows, like, obviously anything that is of a certain frequency, nature, gets a bad name and is very much misunderstood. And Hollywood contributes to making a big image that is widely, like, false of certain things. And sometimes it's just all in good fun. People are just creative. Let me make sure my volume is up. People are creative. People just want to have fun, which is understandable. Nothing's wrong with that. People want to create things. So they're not going to research they're not going to really research stuff sometimes. They're just going to copy what they've seen. So in Hollywood, you see a lot of this stupid stuff about, like, demons and, Satanist, and you always think of this, like, cult-like, chaotic, evil, deceitful type of vibes going on. And a lot of times I have to say, like, what's actually really going on straight, and make it clear for people so they aren't so ignorant about what's actually going on. Because it's really stupid. It reminds me of, I watched this video someone did about why the Japanese have weird representations of people from South America, and why they have such an influence and representation of Brazilian people for whatever reason. And it was because sometime back in history there was, like, a sort of intermingling, transferring, migration from people from Japan and Brazil. But what I'm using this example to say, like, still the Japanese don't really get a lot of things right, and like they'll make, like for instance, they're trying to represent like Brazilians in a way, but they end up representing them like instead like Mexicans. So what they're doing is they're getting a false representation of a certain culture because they don't know the actual real research behind it. You know, so they copy things they see, they throw stuff together, and they think, oh, well, that's, you know, in their heads, they're like, oh, this is this is Brazilians, and it's like, no, bro, that's actually that's a Mexican thing. That's not Brazilian. Like, what are you doing? You know, but with that being said, it's similar what people do with Hollywood and things they see and how people perceive certain things, how they perceive other spiritualities that aren't like their own. They just throw everything together, throw everything on like this little shelf where they think, oh, I don't understand it, it scares me, it's supposed to be taboo. So they put it on this little shelf and pretty much say, oh, I don't go near that shelf, and just leave it there. And they never really do the due diligence that's deserved to actually really understand things. And that's okay, because that's like, just, you know, everyone has their own life, their own whatever, and that's fine, you know. I'm not ever here to try to like change people or convert people or anything. But I do make videos that are necessary to set things straight, at least, so people understand some facts without instead of nonsense. So it's coming from an actual experiencer's perspective rather than someone who's just like wondering about things. So one thing I'm gonna explain is this, and this is heavy stuff. I'm not even gonna front. This is heavy. This is not like some like baby lightweight stuff that maybe, well, I guess if you're already into certain things you may know, but for those who don't know, it'll sound heavy like anything else would, you know. So I'm just gonna talk about this. So for one, Christians, just like you Christians say that you have to trust God, right? You have to trust God. There's things you can't see. You know, Christians use like what's the thing called? They use the analogy of like walking by faith, not by sight, right? It's no different in a way when you're dealing with demonic kings, like you're dealing with Belial. You at times have to trust Belial. You can't just be out here like doing every single thing that you want, not trying to trust in something that necessarily you don't quite understand fully yourself. And I'll put it in this example. Like for instance, there's a lot of voices. Like you have the voice of yourself, you have voices of people, you have voices of things, voices of forces that are trying to sway you in a direction or wanting you to listen to them or something. But see, the point is, like, you can trust yourself to a degree, but there's a point in a place where you have to trust your demon. Like, you have to, like, Belial. Let's say, I'm just using him as an example. Like, let's say if it's Belial. You have to trust him to a degree at a point. You're not going to be trusting yourself. You're not going to be trusting the neighbors next door. You're not going to be trusting what your mother said. I mean, you may trust someone that's like foreign and outside of like yourself because maybe they're saying things in a way to where you understand that the influence is actually maybe Belial trying to give you a message through a person. That's one thing that actually is a thing. So I mean, you have to have an open mind. But the point I'm trying to make is this. The whole point I'm making is that I'm trying to explain things in a way to you so you understand how certain things kind of work, and you don't get it confused with some Hollywood stupid big gulp idiocracy type of like McDonald's illusion in representation that people like to make this type of stuff about in movies and in fucking Hollywood. And it annoys the hell out of me, because it's like, this is really how you're trying to represent something that no one wants to research. Everyone's too scared to research this or actually put this into practice. People are too scared, so you're going to create this fake image that people will actually believe, and then people are going to look at people like myself with all this weird judgment, and then, what's the word? They're going to put accusations on top of me that don't belong to me at all, like in seconds. You actually think what you see on TV or something. So that's what this rant's about. So like I said, you have to trust a demon. You have to cut the bullshit and realize that, like, it's not some little Hollywood fucking creature that they make it out to be on a movie. That's not what this is. You're dealing with something that's actually so powerful that I'll really put it to you honestly. You can be dealing with something sometimes that's so powerful that, like, someone could ask a person this question: are you possessed? Right? Simple question. It sounds simple. Are you possessed? Now, the falsehood is that you would know necessarily that you're possessed, right? You think, like, okay, you could say, no, I don't do anything out of the ordinary. Well, this is my point. The point I'm trying to make is, like, it's not like the movies. A possession can be that I don't know if this is a word, but let's say the possessor, like the demon, is powerful and graceful enough that it can possess you in such a way that you don't know that you are possessed or I don't even know how to say it, like in contact with this thing. So this is what I mean about trust. That's not one thing. You know what I mean about the false narrative that that something has bad intentions or does not have the know-it-all for the grace. Like, Christians want to always talk about grace. Like, oh my God, there's grace, God is grace. Oh, okay. Well, demons is the same thing. Like, have grace and mercy. You know what I mean? Because you have to understand that something that is powerful enough to, undetected, have a hold on you to the point to where you don't know that this thing,
where is it?
Is, less for lack of a better word, is in you. You know what I mean? And at any time, I really believe, like, it can manifest itself if it wants to. But like I said about actual grace, you know, like grace and mercy, you know, like and logic and reason. You know what I mean? This thing does not have to do anything outside of the norm. Does not have to operate in a way that would be, like, obscene. This is another false Christian thing you see in movies. Like, what you have to understand is that's because that bullshit in movies seems exciting to people, and they think, oh wow, that's kind of cool, that's creepy. You know, that's because that's Hollywood. Everything in Hollywood has to be exciting and off the wall and wild and like, because that's exciting to people, and it's entertainment. But in reality, that's not how this works. This is more like that subtly, and this is from my own experience, subtly, a demon can let you know in a way like, hey, I'm here. Like, it's just saying, like, hey, I'm really here. You know what I mean? I'm powerful. I can do things. So don't doubt me. Don't be doubting me like you think this is some joke, or you think this is a game, or you're actually doubting me. Like, you don't understand the depth of my actual power. You don't understand who I really am. You're downgrading who I am because you don't understand the how something will play out. It's like that. You know, think of it like if you could literally play an entire chess game with your eyes closed, and you're not going to understand how you play the chess game with your eyes closed. It's more like that. Like, you know, you realize, okay, where was I? You know, and something is done. You know, it could be just like that, actually. You know, it's like, plain as that sounds, as mundane as that sounds, possession could be just like that. Like, you're doing something, and you don't know you're doing it because you have no recollection or no clue where you are, and then, you know, something is done. Basically, not in a nutshell, but basically, and that's just scratching the surface, I'm saying that that's some of the capabilities that a demon actually has. Not this crazy Hollywood shit, where they're crawling backwards on a wall, defying gravity, some exorcist type of, you know, pointless shit that makes no sense. Like, what does that accomplish? You know, like, what, a demon's gonna show you that it's that powerful, just because, what, to just show off or something? You know? No. This is my whole point. Another thing that's a misconception is that your idea of a Christian God claims that, oh, God won't put more on me than I can bear. So you think that something that's dark, like you think a demon or something, does not have the wherewithal and grace to do exactly the same, to not overwhelm you with something that you can't actually handle or comprehend in a certain way. So they have to actually show grace and mercy in wherewithal, and actually walk you through something in a manner to which it's not going to overwhelm you to where either you become like crazy or you can't get the actual lesson learned that you're supposed to learn because they overwhelmed you. These type of things are not relegated simply just to some Christian idea or some Christian God or whatever thing that you're imagining, and you're attributing all these supposed wonderful things to this thing that you're trying to claim you can only get this on this side. You know, like if you go on the quote light side of Christianity, that's the only way you could experience this. It's scary over here. You're gonna pay dearly if you tread over on this dark side here. You know what I mean? Like, that's bullshit. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. No. I mean, to tell you the honest truth, of all my years of when I was a Christian, I seen the opposite. Actually, that's what I observed. I observed the exact opposite. To tell you the truth, I observed the most brutal, cold, lonely, fend for yourself type of vibes from a Christian atmosphere. You know, I always used to look at these people and be like, I don't understand how they make this work. Like, I don't get it. How do they even? And some never made it work, but the ones that did, I'm like, how do you guys make this work? You know, how do you experience the things that you experience? Because it's not working at all. And the only time that anything has ever worked for me is when I started going the other direction. And that's where, you know, I find myself right now. That's what I'm talking about right now. So I'm telling you these things like you may doubt the demon. It's kind of like thinking like this. Someone could say, okay, well, no one will ever say this, but just for the sake of this rant. And this is heavy stuff I'm putting on you guys. Like, this is stuff that I'm not going to talk about with like every person. They would never understand it. It was pointless to talk about this. I'm talking about this for certain people or certain ears that should hear this. You know. So like, think of a person literally walked up to you and said, "Hey man, you're dreaming, and I'm the one who's in charge, right?" And like, you're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" You know, like your first instinct is like, "What are you talking about? Like, are you on something? Are you crazy?" And then let's say hypothetically, they do a magic trick or something, right? Like random, that would never really happen, right? And then you're like, "Oh shit, you are controlling everything. You're actually controlling this reality right now. You're controlling everything at this point." I don't know how we got to this point, or where things got like this, but you are actually controlling. You know, it's like you're like, okay, so you actually are controlling this. Like, so you could go in different directions if you wanted, right? But you're not. Like, you're trying to teach me something. Even in that very moment, it could be you're trying to teach me that you're actually that powerful that my little human brain cannot detect when things have switched over into whatever, like you're actually doing this or that, or are we, or do I think I'm running the show? See, the illusion is this. The illusion kind of is that you're so separate from your demon. You know what I mean? The illusion really is that that things may happen in a way that you could either perceive or that you thought. Because the point is, you may not know whether you're going to be able to perceive it or not. It may just happen. So that's a question you always have to ask. You know, and it leads to more and more questions that you start asking, like how things really even work in reality. You know, like you hear some people that are similar to myself say things like, you know, a digital landscape. You know what I'm talking about? Well, it kind of really is. Like all the stuff that you see before your eyes is really just electrical impulses. It's not really. I'm not going to say it's not real, because it is, but it also isn't. It's not real. You're going to die someday. None of this is going to be, quote, real to you when you're dead, when you're out of it. And that's actually very close to what a lot of people, you know. Often you even hear people talk about that when you're alive, when you go through this life, it's really just a teaching plane. It's a place that teaches you lessons, and these things will help you at a point when you carry on to another place, let's just call it, you know. So there's things that you want to gather from this. You know, there's references of things that you want to gather from this. You know, there's lessons, there's happenings that you want to make happen, and all that, you know. Things that may even seem small. But the truth of the matter is, you know, our perception, like I said again, of reality is it can't be perceived what in its entirety like a demon could actually perceive. Let's just be real. Let's just keep it real. Maybe you don't want to admit that to yourself. I think part of our ego as human beings don't want to admit that because you want to feel so in control. That's the thing. You want to feel in control. You know? But you have to understand, and this is going to make some people mad, but it's the truth. It's a give and take relationship. Just like you Christians with your nonsense. It's a very similar thing. It's a give and take. So you have to give some of yourself, and you have to understand that, like, you do have to let your guard down, give some of yourself, and acknowledge that you're not in control completely, ever. And then second off, you actually are dealing with something that is more powerful than yourself. You know? And you have to trust that. Okay? And you have to have a level of respect. Now, I can't claim that I'm like a fucking angel, or that I respect Belial to the I'm not gonna even claim that I'm like anything, you know, and say that but what I'm saying is there is a level of fucking respect. And I just feel like it'd be really wise to have a level of respect like that there. You know, just saying. But then again, it also goes to what I was saying before about how, like, you can't claim that these things are so malevolent that they have no, like, good intention, because that's straight up horseshit. It's straight up horseshit, bro. I have no other way to really say it. There's no fancy fucking way or spiritual way to say it, except that that's a horseshit idea. These kings and these things are here to help you ascend. They're here to guide you and to teach you things, and to actually help you with things. Okay? So, I'm sorry. It is what it is. In fact, I'm sweeping the rug out from under. Like, oh, you're sweeping the rug out from. Well, yeah, you need the rug swept out from under your feet because what you believe is so flawed. Okay? People often have more bad intent for you than demons do. You know, people have the most nasty intentions sometimes. Like, you know, people will take what they want from you, try to take what you don't even want to give. It's everything, and then leave you like you're just nothing. You know what I mean? That's often a classic thing with people. You know, it's not exactly that. It's not that when you're dealing with demons, demonic kings, for, you know, lack of a better term. Like when you're dealing with something that is in charge of things, it's a whole different thing. You know, and, I don't mean to be like rambling on about this, but this is what it is. Now, some people aren't going to talk to you like this. They're not going to be as passionate or get angry, but it's I do, because it's annoying. Because it kind of annoys. Like, I let shit go off on that, but it is annoying the ignorance that people have to developments. Alright, so you're ignorant because you never put yourself in a position to give this any, like, insight or to put yourself out there to actually try to experience this. That's what it actually is. And I mean, if I would be honest, like, to say, like, oh, you know, are there weird, exciting things that can happen with this? Yeah, there are. There actually are, like, really weird phenomenons, things that are almost Hollywood-esque, I would call it sometimes. But that's not often. For me, at least. Maybe someone else. Like, I mean, I'll put it like this, and I'll tell you an example, and then I'll close. So, if you guys ever saw the movie Morbius, or when, like, if you ever seen that movie, it's weird, but it's actually really true. I can describe it. So, like, let's just say if, like, a demon is really letting you know that, like, it's there, and it's letting you know that, like, okay, I could take control of your body, actually, if I wanted at this point, and it's just kind of maybe, like, letting you know that. If you ever seen the movie Morbius, where he starts to, like, change, kind of, or whatever, and weird shit starts, you know, happening with his body, and he, like, you know, feels like he's starting to change, it can even actually be kind of like, you know, where you just feel this, I would describe it as a very fierce, very, very fierce type of energy that you're kind of afraid of it because you're afraid that maybe, I don't know, maybe you think you're gonna, like, hurt somebody or something. You think that, you know, something violent is coming upon, or something dangerous or something. And you think that you can't control yourself. Like I said, trust again. So some part of you says, "Oh, I don't exactly trust you that much to just take hold of my body," because, like that movie, you know, like Morbius. Like, you think a monster is going to manifest itself, and you think that you're gonna do something, you know. But like I said, in general, half of that shit you see in movies is not really. It does nothing really intense. That's just Hollywood for the most part. Just saying, you know. And you also have to realize, like, a lot of your fear and a lot of your ideas come from you. It comes from your fear. It comes from, like I said, you're not in a place. You're not in a place yet where you trust this demon completely enough that you say, okay, I'm not gonna resist you. You can have fun with this body. Do what I don't know what you're gonna do, but you could, like, if I need to be possessed, then let the possession come on, because obviously there's something that has to transpire that you need to possess me to get this done. You know, that's a thing you hear about in Haitian Hunan. It's a thing you hear about in demonology. It's a real thing, and just saying from my experience personally, it is a real thing. And it is kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie. It's scary because, like I said, a part of you is not exactly fully comfortable yet with the idea. Because, like I said, the feeling of it at first feels like fucking Morbius. Like, you have a sinister sort of you feel like a person that's not you is actually wanting to move you and then do things that seem kind of like, it seems like it may be vicious or dangerous, or you just don't, it's like a part of you is kind of saying like, I'm a little too scared to let that be a thing, because that just feels like, it feels dangerous. It feels like I don't know, like I said, like a monster or something, you know? But I also have to say, at the same point with that, something much more powerful than yourself, that's way, way bigger than yourself on like every level, is going to feel monstrous, you know? Like I said, these things are not pushovers. These things make a person look like nothing. This makes your fucking general gorilla in the zoo look like a fucking baby. Like nothing. Honestly. You know? This is the type of thing to where, I'll just say how I can describe it. If you've heard someone talk about Belial's, like if you were to shake Belial's hand and yours feels like you're shaking a person's hand made of stone or something. It's kind of like that. Like these things have an energy that's so strong that it feels like you would be a superhuman. That's the only way I can describe it. Like you feel almost like if it was to fully take hold of you and you were to perceive parts of that, it would make you feel, not saying you are superhuman, but their energy feels like something that's that fucking super cute. Like I said, make a gorilla seem like it's a fucking baby. Like it's nothing. You know? That's a certain powerful type of energy. That's what I mean. Like where parts of you are a little bit afraid of it. Because you're like, okay.
Come get some.
And like I said, I feel like often the demon is trying to make a point. Like it's trying to let you know, okay, so you doubt me? Okay, so if you want to doubt me, I'm going to show you what this really is. You know, because you shouldn't be doubting me because you have no clue what I'm actually capable of, you know. Like I said, point made, you know. So this thing is not something to be frowned on. It's not something to be afraid of. It's not something even to be ridiculed. Because what you got